What is up, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the Weekly Square Gamers podcast, where some dudes get around a table and talk caca about some video games. I'm Mike, we got Pedro and Jay, and before that motherfucker derails me, bro, Jay, what is up? PS4 finally has some competition coming up, probably fourth quarter this year. Are you excited to eat some words?
Yeah, man, it looks like a beast of a console. Now the only question is what's Microsoft going to do to get consumers to purchase it? So I'm sure
Okay,
Pedro will
so
give us the rundown on that.
so basically, guys, if you don't know, Scorpio specs were released this morning. We have a pretty good system, monster system. We have the CPU is 8 custom, 86 cores clocked at 2.3 gigahertz. Then we have the GPU as a 40 customized compute units at 1172 megahertz. Then we have a memory. There's a 12 gigabytes GDDR5 RAM. Then the memory bandwidth is at 326. We have the hard drive at 1 terabyte, and of course the 4K Blu-ray DVD drive. Pedro, what you got to say, bro? What you got to say? Is this a monster to what I'm believing, or to what people should believe?
I mean, it's the most powerful console ever manufactured, so I mean, it's definitely a monster. But that isn't what makes this console special. I'll get into that in a little bit. I want to hear Jay's reaction first.
So, like my reaction when I was watching. By the way, shout out to Digital Foundry. They were the ones to kind of announce the console. He did a great job. A lot of people, said that it was boring, but what did they expect? This was revealing the specs of the console. I think a lot of people went in with the wrong expectations. They thought Microsoft was going to be showing off games, which that's not what this was about. This was so they could talk all the nerdy tech talk about their console. So then at E3, presumably it's going to be all games. So on a technical spectrum, like this thing is a monster. I saw a lot of people in the threads talking about how this is barely an upgrade to the Pro, which is completely untrue. I mean, it pretty much blows the Pro out in every single aspect. But again, the hang up that I keep having is if we are allowed to play all of Microsoft's exclusive games on a PC, what's going to make me want to go spend, $500, assuming that that's what this thing's going to cost? What's going to make me want to spend $500 to go purchase another console to sit around or sit along with my other console? And then I had the Switch to think about later on this year. So yes, I am hyped with the specs that were shown. It's a monster, but I keep having this hang up of, well, why don't I just build a PC? And maybe Pedro can answer the question of, if I were to try and build a PC that was somewhat the same specs-wise as this, Scorpio, what kind of money are we talking about, Pedro? Like, maybe too, Mike. Like, what would a graphics card cost to put in your PC to get these kind of specs and get that native 4K resolution?
Probably $1,000 at least. At least
So, so pretty much double the price. Because, that's what the argument is right now is, why don't I just build a PC? And, if a PC is going to cost you $1,000, to get the equivalent of what you can get out of the Scorpio, well, then there's the answer. Just get the Scorpio. So,
well, you also gotta look at it like from the way I look at it is I've done both gaming, from console to PC space. Now, PC gaming is great, but the problem I have with PC gaming is a guy like me, I don't have time to sit here and upgrade my PC regularly. Not only that, I don't want to spend the time actually maintaining my computer on top of it. Deleting old files, getting rid of the shit that doesn't need to be on the computer. I don't want to have to do all this. So seeing the Scorpio, this much power, and I know Pedro's going to break down the specs on why this is not necessarily only a monster, but the way Microsoft did it. At the end of the day, this is kind of something I would look at and go, wow, I can have a console as powerful as a PC, and I don't have to do any of the work. Because at the end of the day, console gamers are console gamers for that exact reason. Either they don't like the keyboard, or they're like me and they're like, look, I don't want to have to spend all that money on a PC every year and maintain it. I just want to get on and play my video games and go to bed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
So go ahead and Pedro, fill us in on your opinion, because I know you're bleeding over there, biting your tongue, waiting.
So let's like Jay said before, this thing is like Jay and yourself said before. This is a technical beast. I'm going to touch on the Digital Foundry video first because a lot of people said it was boring, and the reason why they said it was boring is because they got into the nitty gritty of, what the difference is and how much more powerful this is going to be than any other console ever made. It is going to outperform the Pro at least 20 to 30% more in almost every category. In load times, graphically, the way the UI works, how fast and smooth that's going to work. It's just going to be, a 30% increase in speed and overall performance is a very significant increase. This isn't something that's like, oh well, this is only going to be marginally better than the Pro. No, it will most definitely be better than the Pro, and the gentleman from Digital Foundry made sure to say, yes, this is going to be better than the PlayStation Pro. Now, what impressed me about the video was not the technical part of the video. It was a little section midway around the 8 and 9 minute mark where they spoke about how Microsoft created this console. They did it in a very specific and unique way. So typically when a company wants to create a new product, they go hardware first, software second. Basically meaning I'm going to give you the hardware and you make the software work for the hardware that I'm giving you. In this instance, Microsoft decided to go software first and then custom build the hardware to work for the software that they had in place. So what they did was they had an emulator and basically emulated or built a box within an emulator to perform the way they wanted the Scorpio to perform, and then they chose the parts and created the box based off of that. The reason why they did that was they wanted to make sure that they had a box that would work with the tools that developers currently have, to create games, and ensure that they have a box that will help the developers, number one, create games in a much more efficient manner, and number two, entice those developers that they did lose to Sony, and have them come back and say, hey, we're listening to you. This is the box you want to make games for. And they made sure to, hammer that in by doing it this way. So that's why this is such a unique and special thing that we're seeing within the gaming community, because this truly is a console made with the developer in mind. Now, that being said, the optical drive is going to be the same optical drive that we see in the Xbox One S, which is currently the best 4K ultra high definition Blu-ray drive that you can buy. The hard drive, I believe, is not your typical 5400 RPM hard drive that you can pick up in any store. It's actually going to be a hybrid physical drive with some solid state memory in there, which will help out with load times and install times, things that we as gamers kind of dislike at this moment. Memory bandwidth is, I believe, another 30% bigger than anything else, which means there's going to be when you talk about memory bandwidth, think about it as a highway. More bandwidth means more lanes. More lanes means more cars can go in. It's more efficient. Which means, the information can travel back and forth in a more efficient manner, which only means better and smoother gameplay for us. This has 4 more gigs of RAM than any other console out there. The PlayStation has 8 gigs of RAM, total. Now this has 12 gigs of RAM, 8 gigs of RAM dedicated for games. We cannot state how big that is for developers, because that's another 2 gigs more, or another 3 gigs more than they had in the Xbox One and Xbox One S, which again will help with the game performance wise.
I got a question really quick, Pedro.
Go ahead.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but the 4 gigs they set aside is for operating system and functionality on dashboard, correct?
Yeah, that's for the OS and the and functionality on the dashboard. I mean, right now, with the last update, the dashboard is lightning fast, but this is going to make it much, much faster, which means applications
Also,
like Netflix, YouTube, and things like that are going to work much, much better. And Microsoft
4K,
is...
right?
What's up?
4K, right? 4K dashboard, like it's going to display in 4K?
Yeah, it's definitely going to display in 4K.
Itself?
The dashboard itself is definitely going to display in 4K, so it's going to make it much, much better in that aspect as well. But the thing that this will help out with as well is the multitasking feature. The Xbox multitasks better than any other console out on the market as well, which means we could see things like picture-in-picture, where you can finally watch your cable television and play your video game on the same TV. With an actual decent picture-in-picture mode, because those 4 gigs are dedicated.
Don't do that.
For multitasking. So you definitely want to check that out in the future, coming from Microsoft.
Damn. So Phil Spencer's actually doing what he said he was going to do, huh? Build the console around games?
Well, I mean, if we look at it, right, and I want to compare this new Microsoft regime to a new regime in sports. When you get a new coach or a new GM in a sports team, what do they want to do typically? They want to get rid of the old players and bring in their own players and coaches and guys that they say that those are their guys. Now, Phil Spencer was there when Matt Matrick was ruining the Xbox brand by trying to turn it into a multimedia brand and taking the focus away from gaming. He was the gaming guy there. He was the one that was dealing with first-party developers, dealing with indie developers. So I could wager that in the meetings where they were going over the different versions of the Xbox One as they were developing it, he was probably pushing for a more gaming centric console. And this is Phil Spencer's console. This is what Phil Spencer wanted the Xbox One to be, wanted the Xbox brand to be. It took him 3 years, but he finally got, I think he finally has a box that he can say is his. Not one that he has to live with because he inherited, but this is his Xbox One.
Okay, so we're done with the specs. Now let's talk about something, Pedro, because Digital Foundry also talked about now not only are Xbox One games that's going to be created with Scorpio in mind, all the older games as well are going to be running much better. They showed Call of Duty 2 on the Xbox 360 running on the Xbox One at 60 frames a second. It looked nice. They're claiming that Microsoft is claiming that the game is going to even run even better. The games that are out currently now are going to run better. Nothing like, if we're playing Mass Effect Andromeda, it's not going to push, the frames per second to 60. But what they're going to do is you're going to see a lot more stable frame rates, because a lot of problems with the gaming games now is it's hard to keep the frame rate stable. With the Scorpio, it's going to be capable of doing so. Correct? That's another thing he brought up that we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah, I mean your current games are gonna run better, run much smoother, and I mean that's just the result of having quality hardware in there. To be honest with you, and that's something that will it'll give gamers um, a nice incentive to upgrade if they decided to, or gamers like me who bought the first edition Xbox One with the Kinect for $500 and are like, damn, should I get an Xbox One S? This Xbox Scorpio's coming, and now that you know that the Xbox Scorpio could help your game perform much better with your it'll perform much better with your existing library. It's gonna be worth that price. Jay, what do you think? Is that a good sales point? I mean, I know that the PlayStation 4 Pro did the same thing, and we weren't really impressed with that sales tactic. But as of right now, from the little that we know about the Scorpio, is that a good thing in your eyes?
My biggest takeaway from Digital Foundry's reveal is when he started talking about the Forza Horizon demo running at native 4K resolution, and then to think that that was only using 60 to 70% of the GPU to run that game natively at 4K and look that damn good, and you're telling me that you still have another 40% GPU left. It really makes me wonder what the next version of Halo is going to look like, and that to me is the thing that kind of sold me on the console. Just to know that again, that demo was running at 4K resolution and it wasn't stressing out the GPU. So that was my big takeaway. And I mean, I think the reveal was outstanding. I kind of feel like everything I needed to know got revealed. And people like me who have the day one PlayStation 4, and mine's on its last leg, and I've been sitting here thinking about getting the Pro. When this one dies on me, now I might just take a wait and see approach and stop playing so much PlayStation, and might be picking up the Scorpio later this year. We'll see. I mean, what it's really going to boil down to for me this year is how good of a E3 Nintendo has, and knowing what games are going to be in the pipeline that are coming later this year. If all they have is Mario coming, then I don't think I'm going to pick up the Switch this year, and I'm probably going to end up going with the Scorpio. So that's where I'm kind of at right now with it.
So let's talk about the reveal itself, right? Let's talk about what Microsoft did, and let's compare it to the latest one that we had, which was the Nintendo Switch, right? Because for months, weeks, the gaming community was kind of running the message for Nintendo, right? And until Nintendo decided to come out and unveil the Switch themselves and control the message. What do you guys think about the way how Microsoft handled this? What it means for the future when it comes to E3? And would you have done anything differently?
Okay, I'll take this one first. I kind of agree with Phil Spencer doing this for the simple reason that come E3, I think he wants to knock it out of the park to show people that, hey, we're about video games, okay? Like, we want to make video games, we want to make good video games, and we want everyone to play them on our console. Him doing this specs things early is to not only build a little bit of hype, but also get it out of the way, because I don't know him personally, but knowing, what he talked about, what he tweets about, all that good stuff, he's a gamer at heart. At the end of the day, he's just like us. He just wants to play good games that look good and at a reasonable price. Now, with this highly customized rig, basically is what it is. Highly customized Xbox. What I'm more worried about is price point. As far as that, they did it right. I don't see any problems with the way they did it. I want to see games. That's what I want to see now. And hopefully this E3, by doing this early, getting this out of the way, they can get to the games. Because at the end of the day, I want to buy an Xbox. I want a reason to buy Xbox, Phil. Now show me why I should buy this Scorpio. You know what I mean?
What did you think, Jay?
Here's my thoughts. I would kind of be scared to be in Microsoft's position right now because there's a couple things to factor in when thinking about how well their console is going to sell. Just like Mike said, price point, that's going to be a big one. You know, you got to assume that this thing is going to come in somewhere right around the $500 price point. Even if they somehow are able to get it out for $400, which I highly doubt, you're still being undercut by the Nintendo Switch quite a bit. So, you know, stacking this thing up going into the holiday, the Nintendo Switch, it's much cheaper. You got these huge AAA games. You know, you got Zelda Breath of the Wild. A lot of people probably still haven't picked it up by the holiday season. Then you got the new Mario that's coming out, plus anything that they announced at E3. So unless Microsoft comes out this E3 and just comes out swinging for the fences with a lot of new exclusive titles coming out for the Scorpio, then that's kind of scary to think. Then on top of the fact that this technically is not their bridge gap, this is not their midway console. It wasn't the Xbox One and then the Scorpio. You know, the Xbox One S did come out. You know, that was a console that people that already bought the Xbox One, then they bought the One S. Like, now are they going to turn around and buy the Scorpio as well? So, you know, you got that to factor in. And then you do have the PlayStation Pro. You know, there's been a lot of, you know, PlayStation exclusives that have come out in this first quarter alone, you know, that are upscaled on the PS Pro. So some people might be looking at, I can't wait to see how it all kind of shakes out.
Yeah, I
Pedro,
agree.
what do you think?
I mean, I agree with what both of you guys said. I think that what Microsoft did with getting this out of the way early. This is the boring stuff, right? This is, oh, we've got this many gigabytes. Oh, we do this. This is a 30% upgrade over this, 30% upgrade over that. This is why, you know, this extra bandwidth will help because it's going to do this, that, and the other. And they did it in such a cerebral way because not only did they announce it, but then they brought in arguably the most respected brand in this technical area to kind of, you know, take a look at it, spend some time with the device, break it down in a way that people are going to be able to digest and impress them. Like, that's the most important thing, is that these guys have seen it and they're impressed and they're excited, and you could tell in the way that they speak about the device that this is they're doing good things here, and this is a step in the right direction for the Microsoft brand as a whole. So I think that they are controlling their message. The article that came out with Mike Ibarra on Eurogamer, where he basically said, hey, look, this is for, you know, we understand, we acknowledge we lost the developers. The developers went and made good games for the PlayStation 4, and you guys are going to see those good games come out in 2017. This is our olive branch that we're extending out to the developers. Come back to us. We treated you good in the Xbox 360 age. You guys, you know, we had a great relationship. I know we burned those bridges with the Xbox One. The Xbox Scorpio, we're gonna bring y'all back. We're gonna make one special for you. You know, we're gonna take your feedback and we're gonna go ahead and create a console that makes it easy for you to create whatever your imagination desires. And that, to me, I think speaks volumes and should only say, have positive things. It should only bring positive thoughts to the gaming community, because this is something that a lot of that we wished, manufacturers would do.
Pedro, I want hold on. Let me hit on something real quick that just kind of to wrap this up. I know you want to wrap it up, but Pedro, with the cancellation of Scalebound and Fable, do you think that that's something that just because they're putting out this shiny new console, do you think the console enough is going to win these developers back into their good graces, or do you think that these developers will be hesitant with the fact that they canceled 2 major AAA games.
Okay. I'm going to answer before Pedro does, because I actually was looking forward to Scalebound.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Scalebound was almost 2 months away from release, and I know it sucked because I was actually looking forward to it. I had it pre-ordered, but at the end of the day, the game was nowhere near ready. The game didn't run well, apparently.
Yeah, muddied textures.
At the end of the day,
Yeah.
cancel it.
Yeah.
Cancel it.
Yeah.
It sucks because I bought near Automata. I had that also pre-ordered. I ended up canceling my pre-order and just directly downloading it through PS4, the PS4 store, and that game was fucking amazing. But that game also ran and played and was developed well. Not saying Scalebound wasn't developed well, but what I'm saying is Scalebound was nowhere near ready. And in Fable Legends, I'm sorry, Jay, Fable's done. Fable hasn't been good since the original Fable 1 and 2. Fable has not been good since then. Let it die.
Yeah.
It's one of those things it's one of those things where it catches on fire, you pour some water on it, or you stomp it out and let it go.
True.
But that's my opinion.
Pedro, same question.
I think that Microsoft, if you look back at the video where they announced the Scorpio, there were a bunch of high-profile developers that were in that video saying, "Yo, this is for real. They're making it, and I'm backing it." You have got to be, naive or a terrible prognosticator to not think that those people that were in that video aren't making launch titles for the Scorpio. I think E3 is going to surprise. They're going to have quality IP come out. I'm going to say at least one brand new IP we haven't heard of. I'll go with a Halo game that's currently in development that'll probably come out. I'll go with a Gears 4. Gears 4 will probably be in development and almost ready to go. I think that's it, actually. I think you'll see, and I think you'll see a lot of third-party games that are going to be, highly touted, and they're going to have special Scorpio versions made for them.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. But while it's on my head, I want to bring something to light. Now, a couple episodes ago, about 3 weeks ago, we talked about Horizon Zero Dawn and how the embargo was released almost 10 days early, and it was only because they knew they had a great game, right, guys? We can all totally agree on that. Yeah. I haven't played it, but to what you guys tell me, it's an amazing game.
Yeah.
Now, what catches my eye with Scorpio is not only the way they did it, but it was more like Phil and the guys at Xbox were like, "Look, guys, just come in and check it out. We know we have a solid product. We just want you to come check it out." And at the end of the day, that confidence kind of is what make me lean towards actually buying a Scorpio on launch. You understand what I'm saying? It's one of those things where if you go up and you ask a guy, "Hey, how's this cheeseburger?" "Oh, it's okay. I like it with cheddar." You're not going to buy that fucking cheeseburger at the end of the day. Because fuck that. You're not going to eat it. Why would I eat it? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's another thing to look at, guys, as we close out the Scorpio talk. Because we've been going on for about 29 minutes over Scorpio. As you can tell, we're fucking hyped. And so should you. Because Microsoft seems to be back in the game. Now just show me some games and show some competition. So PlayStation can up their game and we can have quality games on both consoles and we all can sit around and talk caca about them. But let's move on really quick before Pedro gets going again on Scorpio. Persona 5, guys. Not too many of you guys might have heard of Persona 5, but Persona 5 is a huge Japanese RPG in Japan. The Western culture, not so much. It's been out here. Almost every game's been out here. The last one was on the Vita, and that was actually a really good game. I got to play it for a little bit. They released a new one. It's been out in Japan for about a month and a half, 2 months, maybe even three now that I think about it. Just got released here in the U.S. on Tuesday. And literally 13 hours after the game release, Atlas, the game's developer and publisher, released a statement on streaming. They're holding major restrictions on streaming. You cannot show anything more than 90 minutes long. No major story spoilers. They're gonna leave it up to our judgment. You can't show any end dungeons. You can't show any bosses. You cannot show cutscenes or animated scenes. That should probably feature dungeon crawling, spending time in Tokyo, all that stuff. That's all gone. What do you guys think about this? Do you guys think they're in the right for doing this, completely limiting what people can show? Because at the end of the day, Persona 5 over here in the West is very small. Unless you're like a hardcore weeb or a fan of Japanese culture, Japanese gaming and anime and manga, you don't know this game exists.
Right.
Do you guys agree with this, or what are you guys feeling? What are you guys' thoughts on this, really quick?
Let me hop in here and I'll take this one right off the bat. I was listening to a podcast today, actually. Shout out to Podcast Beyond, and they were talking about this very subject, and I like what they had to say about it. They basically were saying that why would you not want people to stream your game, because just like you were saying, Mike, not a lot of people over here in the West are exposed to this type of game. So if they were able to watch people stream it, it may like kind of open their eyes up to the genre. And you do have all the comics and all the anime and stuff. Who knows, people may go buy not only this game, but all the merchandise surrounding the game. They may buy the previous games before it. So it's kind of like you're leaving money on the table by doing this. I understand why they're doing it. This is a very story driven game, but anyone that's going to be pursuing
on the fence
pursuing the streams, they know what they're getting themselves into. You know what I mean? I would think that they would know that there's going to be spoilers attached to it. So one of the things the Beyond guy said is that by them doing this, they don't understand the way the internet works. And I would have to agree with that. My opinion is I think they should just let people stream it. I mean, look how unpopular Nintendo is by the streamer community because of their copyright infringement that they put on all these channels. This is not the thing to be doing in 2017. This is the information age, and people like to be able to go watch playthroughs and things of that nature. It's not going to dwarf your sales or anything like that. I think it's dumb.
Okay. See, I think the thing that bothers me the most is, okay, Nintendo, yes, Nintendo won't allow you to, stream or show gameplay without, claiming, without paying them. But they're upfront about it. You know what I'm saying? They're like, look, I just took a shit. It's there. Just know it's there, okay? Atlas, they're not showing, it's coming off really grimy. Okay, look, we'll let you guys stream it as long as you give me a cut. You know what I'm saying? There's this one way of it's like a backhanded comment. They're doing it very, very grimy. They're doing it very, under the rug, where they're basically, I think is going to end up happening is a couple weeks from now, they're going to end up allowing people to stream it, but at the cost of taking some of their monetization or monetizing money. You know what I'm saying?
I'd have to disagree. I don't think they're doing it for the money at all. I just think they're trying to protect their game from being spoiled to a very small audience out there. I think that's truly their only intent. I don't think it's ill will. I don't think they're trying to monetize people's, money or anything like that. I genuinely think it's because they don't want the game spoiled. But again, I would think people would know what they were getting themselves into. What's your take?
Oh yeah, of course. If you're going, go ahead, Pedro. What are you thinking, bro?
I mean, I think this is definitely anti-gamer in terms of what we believe here in the West. And the issue, the bigger issue is, who are you really protecting from? From these supposed spoilers. Like, if people are gonna post spoilers regardless of what dumb rule you come up with. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. What is that
Yeah.
supposed to do in terms of getting someone to play the game? A lot of people make their purchasing decisions after watching someone play for a couple hours on Twitch or YouTube or wherever else they decide to Facebook Live or wherever else they decide to consume media. They say, okay, cool, this looks like fun, or I've seen enough to know that it's going to be worth my $60 or whatever the case may be. I don't. I refuse to think that there are that many people out there in the West, particularly, that will watch someone play a whole game through and experience the game vicariously through the streamer. I doubt that happens. So I mean, Jay's right. This is just a Japanese, like just a Japanese company that's out of touch with what's going on in the West.
Yep.
Yeah. And maybe let's hope that's what it is. There's no ill will. I brought it up because the internet it's talking about it. There's a lot of the Persona 5 fans or Japanese anime fans talking about this.
Yeah.
And it cannot be not mentioned. It's got to be mentioned because at the end of the day, people who are listening or people who are reading these articles are probably thinking it too. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I'll tell you what, this is the year of the JRPG, man, and every single one of them that's coming out is like critically acclaimed. I mean, these games are getting like 90s and 97s. Like, this shit is bananas, man.
it's the year of the JRPG. I mean, fucking, I just played Nier Automata, and that's probably the best RPG style action game I've played in recent memory. To be quite honest with you. I wish I didn't download it. I would totally let you borrow it because you would actually enjoy it because the action in the game.
Yeah,
it's so fluent and well paced.
I was gonna say the only thing is me and Pedro's wallets have been safe because neither of us played the genre.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm just like, all right, I'm glad you guys are having fun. I'll wait for Shadow of War.
Yeah, exactly. Is there anything else you guys want to touch on before we end it?
Nah, man, I'm good.
Yeah.
What about you, Joe? You good?
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Well, make sure you guys go to our Facebook page / Square Gamers. Also join the group at Facebook /group /Square Gamers. We have some pretty interesting conversations going on. And we have Pedro dropping Horizon Zero Dawn impressions. Coming from a guy who I feel typically stays away from that type of RPG or open world RPG-ish game. I was rather impressed and kind of excited to actually be able to play that game coming up soon. Hopefully I get it from the Redbox and actually spend a weekend with it. But that's been the Square Gamers, guys. We'll talk to you guys next week. Peace
Later.
out.